Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Chat with Amithe. And this is episode number 43. This is going to be a very, very special episode for me personally. I would tell you the reasons. So, I would like to welcome everyone who is joining on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. So let me introduce myself. My name is Amithe. As you know, I'm an executive coach. I love coaching CEOs, and I'm a personal branding strategist, and I help sales organizations, especially B2B organizations, achieve their sales goals. And talking about this LinkedIn Live talk show. This is Sri Lanka's first LinkedIn Live talk show, and simultaneously I broadcast to Facebook and YouTube. And as soon as I got LinkedIn Live, probably as the second person in Sri Lanka, I wanted to add value to my LinkedIn family. And then I decided to bring in an expert and share that person's knowledge with my LinkedIn family, of course, my Facebook family and my YouTube family too. So I've been doing this for a while now. And then today I was thinking what I was planning to do. And then talking about today's episode, uh, this is a difficult time for a lot of organizations, a lot of individuals. We have never planned for this kind of a situation, pandemic, lockdowns. So people are recommending various remedies. You do this is how you do that, have empathy, various things. And me being an executive coach, I help organizations, coaching them, maybe training the managers to have coaching skills. But then I was thinking how best I could add a greater value to my community. And I thought I would bring my guru, the person who taught me ABC of coaching. And he's not a Sri Lankan because he's coming from Malaysia. And I invited him. I said, uh, Dr. Shan, I want you to come and help me to add or create value for my community. And then he's such a humble person. He's extremely busy these days, holding a very important position in International Association of Coaching. He's the president. He still said, no problem, Amita. You know me. You can anytime invite me. So I thought, okay, let me invite Dr. Shan. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Amithe. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for accepting my invitation. A lot of Sri Lankans, of course, there are some people joining from Dubai, India, and close by countries, and few of our friends from USA and other countries. So it's great to have you here. And this is just the beginning, I would say. There'll be a lot of things that we need to do together in the future. So now I can see captain, and then I can see doctor. So, I'm sure there are a lot of great stories behind all those credentials. So let's start. I always ask the guest, whoever comes here, about the childhood or the younger person. Most of the time I get matured people here. So I would like to ask a little bit about your family, your school going time, and did you even plan to become a coach one day?
Thank you, Amita. And yes, my childhood days were very adventurous. I was born in a military family. My father was in the military. My uncles, in the Malaysian armed forces. And I've got two wonderful sisters. Both of them are teachers, Premalashmi and Dhanalashmi. And from young, I always had the opportunity to have conversation with my friends, and we always talk about, those days they used to call it, some weird stuff, something, you know, uh, something we talk about the future a lot, and we talk about, what's going to happen to the world and things like that. So my childhood times, I was very involved in sports, involved in all this crazy thinking, and one thing I was blessed because my parents were actually more coaches. They actually empowered me. Of course, they did not know they were coaches, but
Yeah.
they empowered me, and that built my confidence. And after finishing my secondary school, I went and joined the bank. I went and
Okay.
joined the bank, and then I told myself I think banking was not for me because
Okay.
being an adventurous person, and I chose to join the army, and no regrets. And that's how it all started.
Okay. Interesting. So you went up in your ranking, and then one fine day you thought of taking a little early retirement. Yeah. And then you retired from army, and then what happened?
Well, so as I said that I was born into the army, right? So
Yes.
I was at a wonderful career in the army. I was an instructor at a very young age. I was sort of picked up and groomed to be an instructor in the army. I was sent to Australia for training, and most of the time I was in the learning and development field. And one day I asked myself, where am I going to be? What am I going to do? Again, dreaming of the future. And I told
Yes.
myself, look, there must be life away from the army, life outside the army. There might be something. And I was blessed to have one of my mentors, Ross Walters. What he actually said was, Sean, there's an opening for a training resource manager in one of the multinationals. So I joined them, and then I took over the post of a general manager from a British GM at that time. I became a general manager for Malaysia and Singapore. And that's how my life in the corporate started.
Okay. Okay. So from a very maybe tough background, like an army, very disciplined, and then you join probably equally tough area of corporate world.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun, and it's no different.
Yeah.
It's no different. You're a leader, you're a manager everywhere. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
had the
I can.
ple- yeah, I had the pleasure of doing a workshop in Sri Lanka in Colombo, and we had a few people from the Ministry of Defense, military personnel, and I felt so at home meeting them. And we had a good time in the. I mean, actually, we were talking about coaching,
Yeah.
and there was no difference between in the corporate life as a manager or a leader, and also in the army.
Army. Okay. So okay. When did you become, or when did you decide to become a coach? Probably a
Um,
turning point in your life.
Yes, thanks for asking that, Amithe. It was very interesting because, again, one of my mentors from Australia told me that, Shan, you should be a coach. I said, he's no more with us now, Mr. Ross Walters. And I asked him, who do you want me to coach? And he said, business people. Business people. None of my family members are in business. They're built in. How can I coach a business people? I don't have that experience in business, right? And he said, as a coach, you do not have to be a subject matter expert. I said, what? And my perception was always, as a coach, I need to tell people what to do. I need to advise people what to do because the first thing that come in our mind is sports, right? And then
Yes.
in 2008, and I always had this debate, right? And my wife, Grace, she told me, go and join a certification program. So she was the inspiration behind me and pushed me to go and
Go for it.
to take the first certification in 2008. Yeah, it was about 13 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say hi to two of our friends. Hi, Tamit. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining. And we have Salma, who also has joined us. Thank you very much joining. So this is for others, whoever has joined us. There are others who are watching the program. If you have any questions related to coaching, or how to become a coach, or about coaching skills, please ask me, because this is the gentleman who taught me ABC of coaching. So I'm so glad to interview my coaching guru. I think it's a very rare opportunity somebody gets in his lifetime. Because me being a coach, it changed my life, my life of my kids, probably the life of my friends, my wife, relatives, whoever is associating me. There had been a great impact. So I mean, my gratitude for that, for making me a coach. So now that's the day that you decided to become a coach. We'll say hi to few other people. We have Patum Fernando. Good evening, Patum. And we have Gihan Ranasinghe. Hi, Gihan. And then we also have Gihan Yatanwala. Hi, Gihan. If you have any questions regarding how to be a coach as a manager, in your own organization, we have a person, who taught me. So don't spare him today. Mm. So we have Ajmal who says, it's my pleasure to join the program. Thank you, Ajmal. If you have any friends, colleagues, your manager, even if you want to tell your manager, hey, there's a great discussion happening right now, just send them the link, let them come and join the conversation. This is a very friendly and joyful environment to ask questions and learn. So my next question is actually around your book, right? Coaching with Respect. I mean, this is one of the books that I always associate. You want to talk about a little bit about this book? What made you write a book? And it's all about one man's journey from captain to coach.
Yes. First of all, the title respect, the word respect itself, Amithe, you know that in our team coaching, we use that acronym respect for a team
Yes.
coaching model. And again, the word respect also means that whenever we are a coach or a manager, the first thing is to respect the person who we are coaching. That is the first rule of the game. It's not that we are the coach and we are the all great coach. No, we are the servant. We need to respect the other person because we are serving him. And
Yes.
also the word respect and came about, and and I was discussing with my wife, and this book, whole book was, she's also a coach. So we constantly have this conversation. Grace and I always constantly have conversation about what we are doing, and both of us are uh, partners in life and also in business. Of course, she sometimes is my boss because she takes care of the checkbook, uh, and she said you should be writing a book. So,
Yeah.
and that's how it all started. And I actually wanted to share my story because a lot of times, Amita, people feel that coaching is only for the elite. Coaching is only for the people who can, who has achieved a certain standard in life or a certain qualification in life. And I wanted to bring forward the word that no, coaching, anyone can be a coach. And I wanted to talk to them about my journey, how I became a coach in the beginning, and then I shared about some fundamental tools about coaching, some processes about coaching according to my perception. And as you know, Amita, even when we in Sri Lanka, we used to discuss, we want a coach in every family.
Yes.
We
Yes.
used to discuss that, and I think we
Yeah.
still, both of us, we still have that dream, to
Yes.
create coaches in the family, and
Yeah.
this is how we have started. And well, now I'm happy to say that the book has been translated in Myanmar language. It's in
Oh.
Amazon in Spanish,
Oh.
uh, and of course in English language. The second edition is coming out soon, and I'm definitely will send you the copy the minute it's printed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it has been, yeah, and we want to translate into more languages as well.
Okay. So I think I need to ask this question along with this. Uh, I want you to talk something about your journey to become the president of International Association of Coaching, and then also a little bit about your own coaching organization, Team Coach International.
Okay, thanks. About International Association of Coaching. Um, like 13 years ago, I started looking at different organizations of coaching. And every organization has got an amazing history, amazing people running it. One of the things that attracted me to the International Association of Coaching was the values of International Association of Coaching. They respect adult learning. They respect lifelong learning. They don't judge you. And International Association of Coaching is not a training school, but it is a certification body. And I loved the IAC 9 masteries. I mean, you're very, you know that. You
Yes.
took the test as well, right? So the
Yes.
9 masteries, the 9 masteries, why we don't call it competencies? Because sometimes competencies can mean doing. But the
True.
9 masteries is about the being. And as coaches, every time when I look at on my own life and my coaches, and I'm sure including you, we are living the 9 masteries. That's what we want. As a
Yes.
manager, as a leader in the family, in the community, and the 9 masteries is wonderfully crafted. And you can go to the certifiedcoach.org, the IAC website, because it was created and developed by coaches from all around the world. And most of the times we have certain things only where it was created, although the IAC was formed in the United States. But it's not only the coaches from the United States created the IAC masteries, it was from all across the world, taking in consideration respecting culture and nuances of cultures. And that's why I brought in IAC to Malaysia, and I became the first IAC chapter president in Malaysia. And then I was inspired. I brought the IAC to Sri Lanka. I brought the IAC to Indonesia. I brought the IAC to Myanmar. And now we're also growing the IAC in India. And of course in
Fantastic.
Maldives as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the more coaches we have in a family, in a city, in a society, and in a country, we are looking at having great leaders running the show, helping each other. So even in my case, I recently somebody asked me, Amit, I haven't seen you criticizing anyone on your Facebook, on your LinkedIn. Why is that? I simply said, I mean, the shortest answer I could give him was, I'm a coach. So I can't be criticizing. I mean, that's the shortest, simple answer I was able to give you. That's what make me a different from anyone else who is criticizing the government, the weather, you name it. I'm a coach. How can I be criticizing?
And this is what led me to Team Coach International. That was your question as well.
Yes,
Team
yes.
Coach International was formed 21 years ago.
Okay.
And we've developed it, and with values again. Our first is values, is faith. Faith is believing in people, believing in humanity. And you, like rightfully said, one of the values is respecting. When you respect, you don't judge. Who are we to judge others? you
Exactly.
know and we have got 5 centers. We got center for leading with purpose and passion. We got center for coaching and mentoring. We got center for team development. We got center for uh, entrepreneurial uh, development,
Okay.
and center for process facilitation. So all this, what we wanted to do was, we were saying that what is team coach going to be in the future? Yes, we are going to be a high tech. We're going to embrace high tech, but we are going to be a high touch as well. Not
High tech
forgetting.
and high touch. Okay.
Yes,
Interesting.
we want to embrace high tech, but we want to be a high touch company, organization, because in this new era of technology, artificial intelligence, and industry revolution 4.0 and 5.0 is around the corner, and
Yes.
we sometimes forget to connect with each other. And we are created to connect. We are created to collaborate. And that human connection is high touch for us. And that's going to be a huge gap. And this is where team coach is going to step in. This is where coaches like you and me, is going to fill that gap with high touch using coaching skills.
True. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Shan. Thank you very much. Very well explained. I had a different question to ask you, but then we have a Very beautiful question for me to start talking about coaching skills. So Gihan Yatanwala is asking, what is better, work on subordinate strengths or weaknesses? We haven't even touched anything about coaching in today's discussion, Dr. Shan, but I thought maybe this will give us a good approach to the whole subject.
Thank you, Jihan. Number one, from whose perspective is the strengths and weaknesses seen? Are we saying it? Do the person that we are managing, do they see it as strengths and weaknesses? Do we need to focus on the strengths, and do we need to still focus on weaknesses? I would say that every human being is created wonderfully, beautifully, with a lot of gifts. They cannot be perfect. They will never be perfect. I am not perfect. And we will be having weaknesses. So I would suggest that why not we focus a lot on the strength, the gifting of the individual that has, and then place him at the right place so that he will have the passion. Because whenever we have certain gifting and we are given a job that is
Match.
that is matching our gifting, right? And that's when we enjoy the job, because the word enjoy comes from the word joy, because it's just aligned. But it doesn't mean we get to do all the work that every time we are passionate about. No, but we can create passion in our work by understanding the meaning in what we do. So again, coming back to the word strength and weaknesses, number one, as a coach, we will look at whose perspective, and what does weaknesses mean for him and us, and what
Yes.
is the strength. And sometimes I look at myself and I said, wow. And if my wife says this is your weaknesses, I say great. I'll outsource my weaknesses and build on my strength. I hope I made sense there.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Gyan, I hope you got the answer. It's actually a question that we need to ask ourselves. Coaches are great in asking great questions. And I just saw Dr. Shan asking a great question. Whose weakness, who decides whether it's a weakness or a strength? Is it the subordinate's perspective, or is it the manager's perspective? Brilliant answer. I love it. I mean, I'm going back to my coaching learning days. It's a everyday learning. So thank you very much. So I have another question. It's some of the question that I was planning to ask you, but the
Okay.
audience is asking. This time it is Pathum. Pathum is asking, please explain between coaching and interpersonal skills. I actually wanted to ask you, Dr. Shan, layman's definition of what is coaching. Maybe I was thinking of asking that, and then I think it is right time to give the answer to that. Apart from that, Pathum Fernando also wants to know the difference between coaching and interpersonal skills. Maybe the relationship could be explained there.
Thank you, Patson. That's an interesting question. First of all, interpersonal skills is one of the competencies for emotional intelligence. That is two. One is interpersonal skills, how smart we are in relating to people, and intrapersonal skill, how smart are we in relating to ourselves. That's the two things in emotional intelligence. Now, what coaching does is to enhance our interpersonal skills. The moment we use coaching masteries, we are actually increasing, enhancing our interpersonal skills, because we are constantly caring about what the other person is thinking and saying and feeling. It's not all about us. So the minute our attention is on the other person, and the person will feel respected, listened to, and that's the beginning of a great interpersonal relationship. And that's why I say coaching is an approach or a tool to enhance interpersonal skills. And that's how I see coaching and interpersonal skills.
Yeah. So I have one of my coaches who recently joined my program, and then apparently it was a very professional approach. But then we also get to know each other. So he actually told me that he's going through a tough time with his wife, newly married, COVID sometimes, separation and all that. So I asked him some of the questions, and then I can see that his relationship is establishing, because he started, looking at himself in front of the mirror, thinking, "Oh my God, did I say the right thing?" I didn't tell him anything. I didn't. I never said that you're wrong or your wife is wrong. But I asked some great questions, where he said, "Yeah, I think I need to change." I said, It is you who has to decide." Amazing, amazing.
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay, Dr. Shan, we have Menaka who is saying hi, and Ajmal also is asking, what are the best skills of coaching? Now, Ajmal, I'll get to that question little later. I would like to ask Dr. Shan first, when managers are not having coaching skills, right? I mean, think about the world few years back where coaching was not mainstream, but then we had training, we had consultancy, we had facilitation, so many things, but coaching was not mainstream. So even in Sri Lanka, I'm proud to say, or I would say, I mean, not proud, like I would be bold to say that coaching is not yet mainstream. We have a long way to go. So my question is, when a manager is lacking coaching skills, what kind of impact it would have on an organization, in a team? Imagine, I mean, I was a manager long ago whom I didn't know what coaching was. Yeah. So I mean, I'm still thinking, if I knew coaching 20 years ago, my life and the lives of the people around me would have been completely changed.
Okay, okay. Let's look at managers because they are also leaders, right? We look
Yes.
at the agricultural era. The managers, where their source of power was from knowledge. The
Yes.
minute you had all the knowledge, you had all the information, you had all the data, so you had the power. That was a source of power. Then we went into the manufacturing era and we became great supervisors. Still, the word supervisor come from we had supervision to look for mistakes on the manufacturing plant. We never wanted to look at the good things that people are doing, because of
Yes.
zero defect and things like that. And now we are the knowledge era. We don't have the source of, the source of power is missing because everyone has got knowledge in their fingertips.
Yeah. Now the source of knowledge is Google.
Exactly. Uncle Google will tell you everything. So,
Yes.
managers, okay, again, saying this, we also must remember coaching is only one of the tool in a manager's leadership toolbox. Only one of the tool. It's not for all instances. Sometimes still need to direct. Now, when a manager in this current world, maybe later I'll talk about in the VUCA world and how coaching can help us lead in the VUCA world. But we are talking about managers who might not want to take up coaching. They might lose the opportunity to discover the potential that their staff has.
True.
And we will be constantly directing. We will not be appreciative of the wisdom that our people have. And sometimes I tell managers that please accept the fact that the younger ones probably would know more. And I think Amitha, I think your son who's appearing in LinkedIn all the time and all over the, series, sometimes he probably know a little bit more than you. He's been interviewing a lot of people.
Yes.
you know,
True.
so so we might lose that opportunity to discover the real potential of our staff. We will lose the opportunity to be connected with our staff. We will lose the opportunity to build trust and respect with our staff.
True.
So I would really, really encourage managers to have coaching tools so that, there's a lot of benefits I can talk about, but do not lose this golden opportunity.
Yeah, I can remember when I was first made an acting manager. I was acting like I don't know what the word I should use, like an idiot, I would say. And then after 6 months, somebody, a lady, a senior lady manager told me, "Hey, look, you need to slow down. sit down, think about what you are doing. Then I look back for last 6 months and I realize, oh my God, what have I done? By that time, I have lost one or two subordinates, or people who were reporting to me. I mean, I could not reverse that opportunity. They were just gone. So I can relate to what you say. I lose the opportunity to identify the true potential of my people in the team when I do not have coaching skills. I might give up easily, saying, "Oh no, I'm fed up with these people. Nothing can be done,"
Hmm, hmm.
because I may lack coaching skills, isn't it? Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. So, so my next question is, before we come to Ajmal's question. So, what is your advice to now? It is the L&D fraternity, and it is the CEOs, where the money is allocated, where the focus is allocated. Sometimes, training, we don't have an issue generally in Sri Lankan market. If you look at, uh, more or less, a lot of focus is on training, consultancy, maybe outbound type of trainings and all that. But coaching is, as I told you, not mainstream. So you, as the president of International Association of Coaching, someone who has coached and given coaching skills to thousands, what is your advice to the policy makers, on the top?
Okay, and thank you, Amithe. This brings back me to the Center of Creative Leadership's model for development, where they say 70% on job training, 20% is social learning, where coaching is and mentoring is. And by the way, one of the most effective tool for mentoring is coaching. Okay, we can come back to that later. And then 10% is the formal learning. Now, in the current scenario, some of the research has shown that social learning has got a bigger chunk, a bigger role to play. Coaching has got a bigger role to play. So, we have got, if we talk about trade, because we are talking to L&D professionals, uh, there are few theories, approaches for learning. That is pedagogical approach, arts and science, how children learn; andragogical approach, where adults learn; and heutagogy, which is self-directed learning. Because we
Yes,
don't have much time like those days to go and sit in the classes, or and so a lot of social learning, where we learn from our peer, we learn from our boss, we learn from the people we are leading, managing as well. So social learning will be increasing. So this is
yes,
where we need to inspire self-directed learning. That's one of the big things in International Association of Coaching, empowering people to go for self-directed learning. Learn what you think is important for you. So when we put the coaching equation inside, it will enhance the development of talents in the organization. There has been a research I came across where in Fuji Xerox, where when they did training alone,
yes,
formal learning, and the graph was like going up and dipping slowly. But when they did training and combined with coaching, post training coaching, you can see the graph going up. It's more sustainable. Learning is more sustainable. And as we continue to practice coaching, what happens? A coaching culture will be formed in the organization. And the organization itself will be constantly developing themselves as a learning organization. And that has got a direct impact on the bottom line or on the return of investment in whatever money that you're spending on coaching. And there is a book called Return on Investment in Coaching. There's a lot of case studies. In fact, even my studies have shown, my current ongoing things have shown, there's a lot of return on investment from coaching.
okay, amazing. So, thank you, Dr. Shan. We have another question from Gihan. Gihan is asking what kind of strategies that we can use while managing our subordinates. So, Gihan, you will find answers right throughout our conversation, but I would expect Dr. Shan to add some, details here.
Okay. That's a wonderful matrix the skill and will matrix. You probably, and the will and skill matrix. You see, sometimes when a person is no good in one skill, and we completely write him off, which is not right, because that person might be good in other tasks as well. So when managing people under us, we need to use different kind of strategies depending on the context, number one, and depending on the person themselves. So it doesn't mean that one strategy works for everybody. No, it will not. So only by understanding them, using approaches like coaching, we can understand which are the areas he needs to be told, which are the areas he needs to be trained to do better, and which are the areas he just need inspiration, and which are the areas that we can coach. Coaching is not for problematic people. You're good and you want to make the person better, you use coaching, and different strategies for different scenarios. And just like situational leadership, depending on that, and coaching is one of the tools again in managing our subordinates effectively. I hope I answered that.
Yes, yes. I that also reminds me. I recently had uh, a coaching skills for managers session for one of the largest leasing companies, and then the feedback I got from the L&D manager was, you know what, Amitha, they say they like it not because of, mostly because of the professional part of it, how they are going and implementing it at home, it seems, with their kids and wife. We were enjoying it because I hope you could remember I came and told you the same thing when I was going through the program. I first
Yes,
started practicing it at home with my kids and wife, and I hope you remember that.
yes,
So I'm
yes.
experiencing it now as a coach. I'm experiencing the very same feedback from the people I coach. So amazing, and sometimes
Wonderful.
those are the best experiences. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
so, so I'm going to anyway ask you that question. Define coaching in a layman's language for everybody to understand.
In a simple language, coaching helps you to discover your talents and bring clarity to who you are, what you are doing, and what you need to do to be a better person in
Very
personal
simple. Yeah,
and professional life. Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes that is what is missing in the VUCA world. You want to add a little bit about this VUCA world here? I don't know whether we need to add another letter to the whole thing with the pandemic, because we talked about VUCA world uh, long before the pandemic came into the world.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It was. It was actually created by an American general, the Wuka were. When the American forces were in the Middle East and Afghanistan war, and because things were not happening as per planning, as per planned. So volatile. Everything was volatile. Everything was uncertain, complex, ambiguity. Guess what? This is what we are experiencing right now in the pandemic. This is the
yes,
VUCA world. And people say, oh, what is VUCA world? We are right smack in the VUCA world.
yeah, in
And
the
then
middle of it.
exactly. And I started asking myself, so if this is the reality, if uncertainty is the certainty of today,
Yes,
how can we then manage? Then I looked around, I did a little bit of research, reading, and all that. And this, there was one, John Merce, he is one of the thought leaders. He said, in a situation where it's volatile, you must be reliable as a manager. When things are uncertain, you must be trustworthy. When in complexity, you must be direct. Don't beat around the bush. Be direct.
yes,
And in ambiguity situation, be understandable. Use simple language. Don't have to use MBA language. when we're having a conversation with another person. And then I said, wow. Then I had the aha moment. Look, coaching actually promotes responsibility and accountability. That takes care of volatility, being reliable. Coaching promotes trust and respect. That takes care of uncertainty.
True.
Coaching allows for honest and direct feedback. That takes care of complexity. And coaching uh, brings about clarity, right? I mentioned earlier. And that takes
Yes.
care of ambiguity. Isn't that wonderful? If we and Kamita, I've been during the pandemic time, I'm doing a lot of pro bono sessions, talking about coaching for leaders, for industry leaders, and all that, and giving them simple tools and gaining clarity, and it is helping. So, and as a global president right now, I hear stories during the pandemic. The demand for coaching is rising. And
Okay.
that also shows that coaching is a great tool. One of the tool for us as managers to use during this pandemic season, during this VUCA environment.
Yeah. So, Dr. Shan, I would like to connect this with people working remotely. Suddenly, the managers and supervisors lost the direct contact to see whether they are doing their work, and then what came into the uh, as the solution? Trust. That's the only thing that you can use any tool, but then no tool will be as powerful as trust.
Absolutely. I nearly dropped down. I heard recently in one company, the manager started ask the staff who are working from home to fix the camera so that he can click and watch them at any time they want. I nearly dropped. And that shows how much of, and these people maybe because now, because of pandemic, they might not be able to find a job. But guess what? When industry picks up again, they'll be the first one to leave the boss and run away. As you know,
True.
people do not leave companies, they leave bosses.
True.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad.
Yes. It's a fact. Companies, employees leave managers, their bosses, not the organization. Yeah, I know. I have saved, thanks to you, I have saved a lot of managers where they have become true leaders. But then a great amount of work needs to be done. You know, sometimes one has to experience coaching to realize, oh my God, if it can do this to me, I can do the same thing to my teammate. I can help them. It goes a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we have Nadaraja, who says experience skills would be right choice. You want to add anything there, Dr. Shan?
Experience skills would be the right choice. Yes. I mean, experience and skill, right choice. Number one, for what? Let's say you say that experience and skill is enough. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We need to apply those skills.
Yes.
Yeah, apply those skills. Experience, yes, fantastic, but we also need to continuously reflect on our experiences to gain insight. And sometimes we are not able to do that. That's why we need a coach to be with us to ask those kind of questions so that we can have greater insight of our experience so that we can develop wisdom. And whenever we apply the skills, applying it with wisdom.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Shan. Ananda Raja, I hope you get some insight into that question. My next question, this is a common question, even asked from me, but I would like to get from the horse's mouth. You are my coach, you are my guru. They say, okay, I'm going to trust my teammate. I'm going to coach him, right? Whether he's going to take the upper hand of me becoming a coach. Now I'm going to trust him. I'm going to listen to him. Will he, think that it's one of my weaknesses? My manager is not going to direct me anymore. He's not going to shout at me, but he is a great coach now. Okay, I will go my way. What can I say? Disconnect is there. What is your answer?
And thank you for bringing this up, because the minute you say you're a coach, people feel that, oh, you are this nice person, you are listening. It's not. It's not. If you're a coach, when I tell my participants, right, if you do not bring that person out of their comfort zone, face the fear zone, make them be accountable in the learning zone, they will not grow. And
Yeah.
sometimes, if our coaches are just agreeing to whatever the coachee, the client is saying, you're not doing your job. So
You
you need to
sometimes
bring them
will have
out.
to, yeah, sometimes you'll have to challenge.
Of course. And that's where you can see even my coaches, even C-suits, when I coach them and when I ask certain questions, they look at me and they ask, why are you asking me this question? And my answer
True.
would be, um, is there something that you want to tell me? The reason why you're feeling this way? So we need to bring them out of the comfort zone. And that is not easy. And that's why we need a coach. Coaching is not about all being nice, listening to you. No. And if you're the manager, look, there is a time to coach, there's a time to direct. For example, I
Yes.
always say, oh, the basement is on fire. What? Do you want to coach and ask, what do you want to do about the fire? No. Go and put out the fire right now. We'll talk about that later.
Yes,
So that is the wrong
exactly.
perception in people saying that you'll be misconstrued as this such nice person. No, when again, using coaching when it is required. Not all situations, warrant for a coaching, but in a coaching culture, the conversations can be like a coaching conversation.
Exactly. So thank you very much. I mean, I still remember some of the examples you brought into, our coaching conversations. Great, Dr. Shan. So my next question: uh, a manager with coaching skills generally. Uh, okay, let me put this comment on display. This is Gihan Yatanwala.
That's a good one.
Mix of Gandhi and Hitler will do. Yeah, but you should know the appropriate timing. Don't mix up the timing and bring the wrong person.
And also, Gian, I like that. I like that, Gian. And one more thing is that Hitler is Hitler, Gandhi is Gandhi, but always remember, a coach is a congruent person, and the meaning
Yes,
of congruent is that whatever your thought, your intention, and your behavior must be aligned. Sometimes
yes,
we say something, do something, we might mean differently. Then we are not congruent, right?
yes,
So as
yes.
long as we are congruent, yes, do what you need to do.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you, Gihan, for adding value here. I mean, I can see two Gihans, Gihan Ranasinghe and Gihan Yatanwala, giving a lot of good comments, asking questions. This is how we take conversation forward. So, I was about to ask you this question. My question is, like, when a manager has coaching skills, what kind of impact is he making? I ask the same question when the manager doesn't have coaching skills. Imagine there's an organization or there's a team that
Mhm.
is run by a manager who has got coaching skills. What kind of impact is he making? Now, the other question also, Dr. Shan, sometimes top management or the investors or the director board is more interested in performance. You know, the numbers, the top line and the bottom line, and then the manager is in between this team and the CEO and the board, right? So imagine this manager has coaching skills. What difference do you think that he's going to bring into the table?
Number one, whenever we look at the manager and his boss's relationship, they will have good coaching conversation to clarify what the boss really wants. We cannot fulfill what the boss wants if you're not sure exactly specifically what the boss wants. So the
Yes.
coaching conversation help them to clarify, like the boss, like I mean, if you're my boss and you say, Shan, I want the report to be, a great report, but what does great means? So I can ask you, boss, uh, when you said great, how really, would great look like? Can you give me an example of exactly what you want so that I'll make sure that I will make it as per your expectation? That's number one. You get clarifying thing. Now, for the staff, one thing is, the advantage is that you are continuously developing that person. And John Maxwell always says, you're not a leader if you don't develop a leader. And
Yes.
as a manager, one thing, you're continuously developing. When a manager has got a coaching skill, what happens is that he's constantly developing trust and respect within the team members. When the manager has got coaching skills, he's going to inspire his subordinates to be accountable and responsible for what they are doing. When the manager has coaching skills, he will create a culture where the blame game won't be there, because people are going to take responsibility and accountability. And when a manager has got coaching skills, the conversation will have more clarity, will be more direct. People will understand. People will have the same mental picture. There's no ambiguity because clarity will be there. When a manager has got coaching skills, he's going to create an environment where where psychological safety will be created. And what we mean by that is people will be able to express their thoughts and their emotions without feeling being judged by the manager. And at the
True.
end of the day, the manager will be a facilitative leader. Rather than standing in front and pulling the team, he will be behind, being a facilitator, showing the direction and empowering people. And this has got a direct impact
Back
on performance
performance.
and
Yes.
profitability.
Yes.
And it creates
Yes.
a lot of engagement. You talk about sorry, not customer service, but you talk about organizational engagement. People
Yes.
measure that, right? How engaged your
Yes.
company is, right? And we can
Yes.
always do pre and post, and instead coaching initiative in between. You can definitely see, because I've seen so much of research. My own research has shown the benefits of coaching.
Super. That's a brilliant answer, Dr. Shan. I'm more than happy that I was able to bring my guru here today to give this example. So we have Priyant, who says, very important discussion. I got some insights. Thank you for your valuable ideas. Yeah, Priyant, so you are lucky to be here today, and I am thankful to you for somehow making time to come here. Yeah, I bring great personalities here, and they just share their experience without any hesitation, without keeping anything. They just share. So I also want to add another question, Dr. Shan. Now we talk about, sometimes we find organizations who are into, let's say, let's be very direct. There are a lot of now even Sri Lanka is trying level best to bring in a lot of foreign currency into the country. So one of the areas that we look at is information technology, business process outsourcing, coding, software development, and all that. And then we find sometimes majority of your team sometimes are consist of introverts. Okay, where you have a bunch of teammates who love coding, who are not so expressive enough for the manager to know sometimes what is going on in their minds. And then it's not sometimes 20% of your team, maybe it's 80% of your team, maybe one or two people would be talking. So when a manager has coaching skills, what kind of a difference he could make into this kind of a environment where, not out of fear, but that's the nature of the work they do, they talk less and they work more, right? But then manager also has to have great coaching conversations to take things forward. What happens when a manager has coaching skills and he has a team like that?
I think if when we have coaching skills, we ask better questions. Meaning, we ask questions to actually genuinely ask what they are thinking and feeling, rather than asking questions like, "So, how was your day, Amita?" Good. Just like in the family, right? "So, how is your work?" Fantastic. All the close-ended questions. So, where do you give an opportunity for people to think and process and answer you back? No. "So, you should be doing very well today." Yes. "So, how are you?" Good. So, when people are talking less, we need to be number one, asking the right question for the right purpose. And again, Amita, you must have the genuine interest
Interest.
to
Yes.
really know. And people, what happens, and I always tell this, I say, what happens when you ask a person, "How are you today?" And if the person say, "You know what, actually, I'm feeling very lousy. Do you want to hear why am I feeling very lousy?" I don't think a lot of people will take that. They expect the
No,
answer, "I'm feeling good." Are you genuinely? Emotions travel faster than words. I have been always telling that.
true.
So if you are not genuine, you will appear fake in front of the person. Why should the person have a conversation with you anyway?
Yeah.
And coaching
So
skills, yeah,
yeah,
helps. Coaching
yeah.
skills
So
help.
when a manager has a coaching skills, actually he has a genuine interest in people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I have this book with me. This is another book actually.
Ah, yes,
Uh,
Dale Carnegie's.
yeah, and then one of the things is have genuine interest in people. If you want to win people, very simple.
Yes,
Yeah, and then as you very correctly said, it's very rarely that someone has a genuine skill in even in their own team. Sometimes you ask these repeated questions day in and day out because you just ask, you don't even know why you are asking it.
yes.
So I want to ask you this question, Shan, before I ask other uh, coaching related questions. We can go for a few more questions. I want to ask now, if somebody wants to become a coach officially, certified professional coach, right? I'm not talking about gaining coaching skills as a manager. Imagine somebody wants to become a coach. How do we go about it? How would the team coach international could help? Now, I know good old days, you had to come here or we had to go to Malaysia,
Yes.
but things have changed. You want to explain a little bit for the benefit of the audience?
Yeah. So it was actually blessing in disguise. I started virtual training even before the pandemic. I was doing for MNCs, Fortune 500, and and during the pandemic, then I started restructuring my whole coaching model. So now we have already done from last year and this year. We got about five. I think it's, yeah, about five. Earlier last year, when there was a gap, we did a hybrid. We met physically, and then we did virtual, and then we moved into full virtual, and it
Yes.
works. And I ask questions, and one of the person, and now we have got, in fact, our next program, there will be an Australian. In fact, there's one from Sri Lanka joining us, and there's a few from
Shan,
Myanmar.
Dr. Shan, I think I have the what can I say, that e-flyer.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me see whether I could share that with you.
Okay. You
Hope
know.
you can see the
Ah,
flyer.
yes, that's the one. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Our
want
next.
you want to explain this, please?
Okay. So, as I said, that when we designed this, as you know, Amitha, my doctorate is also in coaching. And
Yes.
I, because in Malaysia at that time, there was no research on coaching until today. There was one was done, but as a practitioner, I was the first because I looked at we need more research in coaching. So I put in modules that I feel that has worked. And And the modules here, the fundamentals of coaching, the arts and science of coaching. And because we want to understand the philosophy behind why we are coaching. What is coaching? Where did it come from? And then the coaching process, the models. Then we go into the International Association of Coaching Masteries, the 9 masteries. We go in deep. We allocate 2 days for that. And then emotional excellence. A coach develops his emotional excellence. And then we talk about, okay, fine. But what happens in the brain? Then I included the psychology of coaching, the theory, what is backing, because we are a lot of technical people, IT people, and all that. If you're in HR and all that, you might know a little bit of this. But a lot of IT people say, "Oh, this is what happens." And then we got this. As I always believe that from my school, a leader don't only do that one-to-one coaching. He or she must have the competencies to even coach a team in a team environment.
Yes.
And then coaching culture. How do we develop coaching culture in our organization?
Very important.
So these modules have been tested, and Grace, my wife, she actually presented our program. She did a research on the program and to see the
Okay.
benefit of the program. We have trained, of course, we have trained I think, more than 15,000 people in terms of coaching skills. But as
Yeah.
certified professional coaches, we only do about 2 programs per year. Only this year we are doing 3 because of demand. She did a research from our certified coaches and getting the input from their clients or coaches. And she presented in an international learning and development conference, and it has been published. In a conference paper, it has been published to
Okay.
show the benefits of the program. So we are proud to say this program has been researched on, and it goes on for about 8 days. Of course, sometimes some people ask, how long does it take? I said we go for 9 to 5. But we like last last cohort, we had people from Bangladesh. Unless we got enough, a minimum 10 in a country, then we go according to the country time. you know
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes they say, Shan, what about doing 4 hours, 4 hours, well, we customize the program, right? But so
Yeah.
far 9 to 5 is very interactive. You wouldn't know
I
how
know.
fast the time flies.
I know. I mean, I was there in your coaching program, so I know. And you are one of the certified facilitators, and then
Yes,
you run those programs. You teach people how to become great facilitators.
yes. And also, last year I became a certified virtual facilitator as well
Yes.
by
Yes.
INIFAC. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So we have Ravindran. Hi, Ravindran. Thank you very much for joining us. He's one of the top business leaders here. He's one of my friends, and I'm sure some of the things that we discussed would definitely help him. So my question is like, so what we can do is, if somebody wants to get to know more details about your coaching program,
Hmm.
what they could do is they could send you maybe a message to your LinkedIn inbox, or you can even send me a message. I would always direct you. I hope you can always come back to this video, and the contact details were given there in the
Yeah,
leaflet. You can
and I
always
think that
find it.
Amita, the best thing is you are there, and you know the program. You have been a certified professional coach. The best is contact you. You tell what's
Yeah,
happening and how this
yeah.
program has been for you, and that will be great. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So I will. I mean, there were about one or two people who spoke to me with regard to. I mean, when I casually mentioned about this program. So let's see how best I can give them more. Probably I could share this e-flyer with them. So, Dr. Shan, we have come to the end of the program. So, as a final message to those aspiring managers and currently who are running organizations, divisions, these great managers, great leaders, imagine that they need to add coaching skills. What kind of advice would you give them right now? Because even Sri Lanka is, if you look at the number of cases these days, we are worried about another lockdown. But then this is the new normal. But the old knowledge old way of thinking is not going to help us to face the new situation. So what kind of advice, as a last kind of words, I don't know, maybe if time permits in the future, maybe before the end of this year, I would like to invite you to come for another session like this to add more value to our audience. I mean that would be a great opportunity for me and my audience here. So, final thoughts to help the current managers and leaders.
Thank you. I've been saying this during the pandemic as managers, me included, we all are. And, we need to accept the fact first that it is pandemic, things are as it is. Accept the fact first. And then move into a solution focused thinking paradigm. It always been proven to not be problem centered. Yes, yes, the problem exists. Respect it and move forward. There's no point in dwelling in the problem. Move towards solution. So as managers, accept the fact that, look, COVID-19 is something new. We do not know how to handle it. I will not pretend to know how to handle. If there is flooding, electricity breaks down, or big thunderstorm, we have experienced it. Those kind of
True.
disruption, we have experienced it. But pandemic, you have not experienced it. Your staff have not experienced it. Your boss have not experienced it. So what do? Let's have a conversation and come and collect the collective wisdom that we have and plan to move forward. And that is how coaching can help. Except, and
True.
in the International Association of Coaching, in the definition itself, the three key words is awareness, discovery, and growth. And let's move towards transformation, not just change. Change, when you talk about change, the focus, the point of reference for change was yesterday, the past. I was like this in the past, now I've changed. But we don't want that. We want transformation. When we talk about transformation, fine, this was what we are. We don't have to refer to the past. Let's look at the future and ask ourselves, what do we want? That's transformation. That can only happen with real, genuine, good, intentional, focused conversation that coaching brings to the table. That's my final sharing, Amitha.
Great, Dr. Shan. So, those who can actually embrace this transformation, you will survive and you will become great leaders. And those who will not be able to comprehend this, understand this, accept this, will struggle until they learn to be part of it. So let's take this as an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to change and move forward with, isn't it? We were thrown out of all our comfort zones, and suddenly we need to be we need to face this. Yeah, there's no other option. So, Dr. Shan, thank you very much. I don't know what's the time over there now. It's about maybe 11:30.
Oh, no, no, it's 12, it's 8 minutes past midnight. It's 12:08.
Thank you so very much. You are my guru, you are my coach, and accepting it's a great honor for me to have you here and sharing your wisdom, I mean, your experience with by coaching so many coaches. Okay. So we have Ajmal who says, it's an effective session. I very much appreciate Dr. Shan and my lecturer, Mr. Amithe, during this challenging time. Yes. And then, of course, before we wrap up, we always give two books. I mean, it's not generally it's one book, but today I want to give two books courtesy of Pick a Book. Pick a Book is a place where you read books and come and present the learnings. So they always come and help me to give away two books. So today I want to give these two books to Gihan Ranasinghe and Gihan Yatanmala for those great comments and questions. Please drop in your contact details and your home address. We will courier them to you as soon as possible. So thank you very much, everyone, for being part of the show. And Dr. Shan, again. I honestly want to bring you back again, probably towards the end of this year, for another great session. And I hope everybody would stay safe and somehow transform yourselves and go through this difficult era to come on the other side safe and sound. Thank you very much, and good night. See you again with another program next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.